Hey, it's Sidney, and today I want to talk about emotional wounding because I was thinking of this old comic I drew based on personal experience that had someone walking along the street who then mysteriously gets attacked and stabbed, and then obviously they fall to the ground and they're like, I'm bleeding, and then someone walks by and sees that this person is wounded and goes, oh my goodness, I'm gonna help you, but first we need to discover what the cause of this wound is. We need to find the culprit first before I can help you. And the person's there on the street like, help, I need to staunch the blood flow, but I can't move. And then the person who should be helping them is too busy spending all their time trying to search for the cause rather than just deal with the problem right in front of the face. And that was just a little something I made to show how ridiculous it would be to see someone who was hurt and not actually help them with their problem, and instead try and spend all your time trying to figure out what caused the hurt in the first place, which is what I tended to do, and I think what a lot of people tend to do. It's trying to figure out, oh, why am I this way? And you're sort of psychoanalyzing yourself, or someone else is psychoanalyzing you and saying, you know why you're this way? Because blah 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 blah, and you're trying to think, well, maybe it was this, maybe it was my upbringing, maybe it was my family or some authority figure from childhood, or your friends, someone, and maybe it's you, maybe you did something in the past and now it's just forever causing this problem that you're having in the present, this emotional hurt and wounding that you have in the present, and it's just not helpful. And I know that I spent so much time just trying to figure out why I was the way I was, why I always felt so upset over little things, and why I felt so out of control in my own life. And that wasted a lot of time that I could have actually been using to deal with it, and I didn't even see that I was doing this. I guess this is a bit more talky than most, because for me, my own personal experience has been that I like to think about things. I like to mull over stuff and ruminate, and I can literally sit in a chair and stare off at nothingness for hours because there's just so much going on inside my own head that I don't really need much else from the outside to keep me entertained. And that has been useful to me, and also in its detrimental form has been a problem of just overthinking, overanalyzing, and taking things maybe a bit too seriously. Like every little thing has to have this deep rooted meaning, and sometimes you just, whatever, it is how it is. And that's what I wanted to talk about today with this. And instead of just going over and over the emotional wounds that we have, and thinking about them, and thinking about why they're there, and how they were caused, and oh, the pain, it doesn't really help, does it? And you can tell yourself if the thinking you're doing and the way you're dealing with something is working or not, because chances are you'll feel better, right? And that's how you can really tell if the way you're dealing with your emotional wounding and how you're thinking about it is actually being helpful or is a hindrance to dealing with it and whatever you want to call it, integrating it or moving past it or healing it, whatever you want to call it. There's also a sense of, if you're constantly focusing on what the pain is and why the pain is there and what you have to do to get rid of it, and oh, the pain, it amplifies that feeling. It's like when you have an itch and you want to scratch it, but then you're like, no, I can't. And the more you think about it, the more itchy it becomes, and you're just like, no, but yes, that kind of thing. The more you focus on that sense of lack without any purposeful direction to what you're doing, if it's just, why is this here, why is this here, why is this here, that can spiral downwards. The more you're focusing on that lack, the more you're able to see how it is in your life, and the more you're able to feel how it is, and the more you find proof that it's true, that you're lacking in some way. Maybe it's the pain, maybe it's a sense of isolation, like no one understands you, maybe it's a sense that there is no solution to your problem. I know that was one of mine. In fact, all of those were mine. I felt isolated and in pain, and like there was no solution to the things that I was feeling, and that something was wrong with me because I was feeling those things. And then that just went back into the same loop of, well, why is this here in the first place? And none of that actually helped. And then that can even turn into a blaming game, not just of other people, but of yourself. Oh, maybe it's, someone else. Maybe it is a childhood authority figure, family, friends, parents. And then maybe you start going in and blaming yourself when you realize that blaming other people doesn't help either. Maybe there's something wrong with me. And those thoughts just keep coming in over and over again. At some point, instead of searching for who done it, it might be helpful to staunch the blood flow of that wound. Back to what I was talking about the wound, actual physical wound. If you had an actual physical wound, you would quickly deal with what was happening in the present right now, rather than dealing with what on earth caused it. It's not to say that finding out the cause of a physical wound even is completely useless. For example, if you have a wound that's a snake bite, you might want to deal with it slightly differently, because that snake might have been venomous, and you want to suck out the venom, right? Versus if it's just a plain old cut, then what you'd want to do is to sterilize it and wash it out and try and get the bleeding down or something like that. I'm not a medical expert. But there's certain things that we all know what to do in the present to deal with wounds, physical wounds. And we don't focus that much on how we got them. We're just, ow, pain, got to do something about this right now. Whereas when it comes to emotional wounding, sometimes it's easy to get caught up in the sense of trying to figure out why it's there and the reason behind it, and you're trying to discover, why is this problem here, and oh no. At least that has been the case for me, and if you're ever in that position, I hope that this reminds you of how to deal with a wound. With a physical wound, you're looking at what does this need in the present. And the same thing can be said of our emotional wounds and the emotional hurt that we feel. It's to ask yourself, what do I need to do about this right now? What can I do in the present? What does it want from me? In the same way, what does a physical wound want from you? A certain physical wound that is dirty needs to be cleaned out. So an emotional wound can have the same sort of situation where you're looking at, what does this thing want from me? Sometimes it's to protect you. In fact, a lot of the time, it's to protect you. At least that's what I seem to find. And it becomes less of a trying to figure out the cause of something, and more of trying to figure out, what do I do with this right now? And sometimes finding out what the cause was can be helpful, but it is not your main area of focus. It doesn't need to be. It's not the most helpful thing to look at when dealing with an emotional wound or hurt. And beyond just looking at what you need to do about the emotional hurt that you have, there's also a large possibility that the only reason it's staying open is because we keep it open. In the same way that if you had a physical wound and you kept scratching at it and reopening it, it's going to take a long time to heal, and it's going to be an itchy, painful, very nagging sensation that keeps you focused on it the whole time it's trying to heal. In the same way that our physical wounds have a means of healing themselves a lot of the time, our emotional hurts are the same way, and sometimes we keep them open by refocusing on the pain and that sense of lack, like I mentioned just now. Sometimes the best thing you can do is to focus, instead of on how you lack in a particular way, it would be even better to look at what it is you feel like you lack and then put that out into the world. If you feel like you, say, don't have enough kindness in your life and kind, compassionate people in your life, then try being that kind, compassionate person to other people around you, and see how that can actually allow you to feel like there is more of that in your own life. If you're someone like me and you have a tendency to overthink things and try and analyze the crap out of everything, then it's good to remember that everything has a natural healing ability, and it's less of trying to make everything work and more getting things out of the way to allow it to work as it is naturally able to do. It's kind of like how healthy food doesn't give you health. Healthy food gets out of the way of your natural well-being. And it's kind of all the same thing. It's all the same thing. Okay, I was a bit rambly today, but I kind of wanted it to be more of me just chatting and talking about what I'm thinking of right now, and just talking about some stuff that I thought might be helpful and useful. And I just wanted to use this video to talk about one of the first things I ever wrote, and that was most important to me, and that was the biggest reminder of what I'd learned just from life. And yes, that is all. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please give it a like and leave a comment if you have anything you want to say, any suggestions for things you would like me to make videos about. And if you haven't already, you can subscribe. I will put the links up for the subscribe button and other videos that may be helpful or related to what I'm talking about in this one. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.